This week, we talk about Kendrick Lamar and the 10 years of To Pimp a Butterfly, KanyeWest going on another rant that is pretty stupid, and I go comment creeping this week. Let's see how that goes.
The STEM Society.
Welcome back to the STEM Society. My name is Cole Jackson. This is episode 92. We are live. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode. It has been a very good week, man. I've enjoyed myself. Got to see DJ AG this week. And it was for like 5 minutes, but I got to see DJ AG showed up to the place a little bit later than I wanted to. But don't worry, I'm going to go check him out later on. Look, also thank you guys for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. We've gotten 2 subs. YouTube don't want to give me their names anymore, but thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you enjoy content like this, content talking about music, hip hop, R&B, music news, all of that stuff, continue to share this content and subscribe. I'm asking you to do all the things. So I don't want to give you guys my Playboi Carti review yet. I'm gonna wait till I listen to it a couple more times. My initial thoughts are pretty much like everybody else's. Either you like it or you don't, and I think that's a generational thing. Me personally, I know the YNs are having a great time with this album. Personally, for me, the sound of it right now is a little bit different, but you can see that Carti's actually gotten, honestly, a little bit better from Whole Lotta Red. That A Whole Lotta Red was just an album that he just scammed everybody off of. I don't even understand why he dropped that. I was a Carti fan from his self-titled debut, and I thought that album was really great. And I thought Carti was gonna be somebody who was going to endure. But it's been 5 years since his last album, and you could tell that he's improved just a little bit, but not much. So that's all I really have for my first. I've only listened to it once. 30 songs is hard to get through, but on Wednesday, I'll make sure I have a critique for you guys, a very much more in-depth critique on that album. It is the 10-year anniversary of To Pimp A Butterfly from Kendrick Lamar. I just wanted to say a few things about that album. One, I was a lot like other people. When I first heard that album, I had no idea what this was. We were just coming off the Good Kid, Mad City kick, and it wasn't as West Coast as I thought it was going to be. This was To Pimp A Butterfly was a complete left from everything that I thought Kendrick was going to drop. The title alone made me feel like it was going to be more of the same. He was going for something completely different. Now, from my understanding, something that inspired this album was the Quincy Jones, Miles Davis album that happened, where Miles Davis did it. Miles Davis had an album where he had a lot of rappers on there, and he was trying to infuse jazz with hip hop. And that was one of the inspirations that gave Kendrick the idea to do To Pimp A Butterfly. I thought this album wasn't good when I first listened to it. It was something that I had to really kind of listen lyrically, try to see where he was coming from, because this was his album to give us a message about just being black, or how the country has treated us as black people. It's a lot of different themes in this album that I didn't understand when I first listened to it, because I was wanting money trees and I was wanting swimming pools. You know what I'm saying? I was wanting the mainstream shit because Kendrick was so good at that mainstream part of things. And I had to really sit down and sit with the album and actually listen before I was like, oh shit, this nigga's really saying something. That's the mark of a great artist. That's the mark of somebody who really has something to say, and he puts it in his words. And I didn't look at Kendrick like that at the time. It reminded me a lot of Section 80 as well, because Section 80 is one of those personal albums that Kendrick had put out. But this was one of them things where you could see where he was growing up and maturing as a man, and he was seeing how things were happening to us as black people, and he wanted to put his mark on it and have something to say about it. And I thought that was amazing, man. And now when I go back and listen to the album, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But it took a minute for me to really understand where he was coming from. But for this album to be 10 years old, I was like, 2015 was 10 years? Sheesh. Um, but after time passes, you learn to appreciate what this album brings. And a lot of people will sit up here and say the same thing, and they ain't got no slaps on there. The album wasn't meant for slaps. It was meant for us to be able to get some type of message and help us understand what was happening to us as black people. And 2015 was a very, very busy year when it came to black folks and the country, the U.S. So I just wanted to give a few words about that and just let people know how important this album is. It's one of the most important hip hop albums, I think, in history. And when you go back and listen to some of these songs, Institutionalized, King Kunta, what's oh my God, it's so many. For Sale, Hood Politics, all of these, the Black of the Berry, songs like that, man, just they're here to give us messages and help us understand a lot more about who we are. And I just appreciate that a lot. You have to appreciate artists like that, especially people who are rappers that give us things like this. So I just wanted to say I'm so happy that we got an album like this. I'm glad that I ended up listening to this album enough to understand how to appreciate it the right way. And I hope we can get another one, not from Kendrick Lamar, but from somebody else who was inspired by this album. So thank you, Kendrick. If you're watching this, thank you for giving us an album that we can hang our hats on as black people and feel good about things.
Music news.
So KanyeWest decided to become the biggest hater of the year by talking bad about Kendrick Lamar and saying that the Jews kept him off of Playboi Carti's album I Am Music. I'm not lying, that's what he said. He tweeted that. We got a bit of a rant from Kanye West. Can I pull out my receipts, please? Yes, I can. Kanye West did say things like, I don't like Kendrick Lamar's music. He raps very good, but I didn't need to hear him on Playboi Carti's album. Yeah. Niggas can't be king until they take down the king. Kendrick sucks. Those are just a few things that he had to say. What else did he do? What else did he have to say? Anything else? I'm pulling up these tweets, by the way, and I made sure I saved them. Let's see. Those are pretty much it about Kendrick Lamar. So let me address that one first. Why do you care? And I know y'all are probably asking me the same thing. Why do you care, Cole? Because at the end of the day, man, like Kanye West is taking moments away from people who actually are relevant. Kanye West is continuously trying to pull attention from people who are actually doing shit with music instead of making a fucking circus. Now, I know Kanye has been talking about doing the Sunday service, and he showed his the new logo for it, which I'm not gonna put it on here. You'll have to look that up. Kanye here recently has been tweeting really crazy, especially about the whole Playboi Carti album, which I think is something that means he's still looking for attention. At the end of the day, on this part of things, Kanye continues to suck the life out of good hip hop or good things happening to great artists, and I don't understand why. You're somebody who is completely it feels like you hate music now. Instead of making music, you just want to make a mockery of yourself and dress up as a Klansman all the time. It's just terrible, bruh. And this whole thing with the Nazi stuff and the swastika shirts and everything that he's pulling for, you're really, really looking crazy out here in these streets, my nigga. You need to calm the fuck down. Now, I personally said I'm done with trying to support Kanye with anything that he's doing. I said that I'm not going to listen to the new album. And this makes it even more of a fact because of the reason that he's hating on people because he's not a part of the party. You're Kanye West. Let's just put this out here right now. You're Kanye West, bruh. You can do whatever you want to do. Everything that you do, you pretty much sell. People are going to buy it regardless, mindlessly, because I guess your name carries that kind of weight. You don't have to bring another artist down because you're not part of the popularity or the fame or whatever is happening for that artist. You did this with Drake. You're doing it with Kendrick. You kind of did it with J. Cole. Like, when are you going to stop leeching off of these artists and actually start doing shit for yourself? It's pretty terrible what you're doing right now. And I think another person, Ray Daniels was like, Kanye West and Drake are gonna do a collab album. Man, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. There's no way that they're gonna be doing an album together when you have someone who is dressing up like a black Klansman and doing Nazi shit. Drake has taken enough hits this year. I don't think we need another one. I don't think he needs something else to bring him down. So let's get off of that bullshit. I don't think they're gonna team up to make this great collab album. And even if they did, who gives a fuck now? Kanye West has sullied his name to the point of why should we listen to his music or anything that he does with somebody else? And if the Jews, here's what I don't get to either. Isn't Drake Jewish? Does he have a problem with the Jews? Why would they do a collab album? It's just stuff like that from Talking Heads that confuse me every time I get on social media or I look at these news platforms. It's just another reason for people to get clicks and likes saying some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. But it's just neither here nor there. I hope to God that there will not be a Drake and Kanye collab album because I don't want to hear that shit. And I'm sure you don't want to hear that shit. Well, maybe some of y'all do. I don't know. But it's just to the point now where these antics, man, outweigh the talent, and we have to be conscious of knowing that we have the power to stop this dude from doing whatever he wants to do. Just the beginning of the year, man, everything that Kanye's been doing has been rubbing me wrong, which goes into another point of what Kanye West did this week. He did a song with Sean Combs and, well, Puff Daddy. Let me make sure I read it correctly because I don't want to, y'all are killing, y'all out here killing platforms these days. I want to make sure. He dropped a song on Twitter, Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine, Puff Daddy featuring his son King Combs, My Daughter Northwest, and new Yeezy artist from Chicago, Jasmine Williams. So he dropped this song on his timeline this week, and I don't know how to feel about it. I know he's trying to get Puff out of jail and he's trying to shine a positive light on Puff, but I don't think the stuff that you're doing helps him at all because, again, you're claiming to be Nazi and you're claiming just Black Klansman stuff, which are two things I don't think that's going to shine in a brighter light for Puff Daddy, as you like to call him in your tweet. And then he went on this whole rant about how he needs to see his kids. Oh, let me pull that one up. I don't want to just see my kids. I need to raise them. I need to have say so of where they go to school and who their friends are and whose house they sleep over, whether my daughters wear lipstick and perfume. All these rights have been taken from me by the Kardashian mob, Hulu, and Disney. The bigger agenda to use the selective bred Black children to be platforms to influence Black people. In typical Kanye fashion, when he starts saying a lot of crazy stuff, he goes into the situation of his kids. Have you guys noticed that pattern, by the way? Every time he goes and says some wild shit, he's got to go back and say, but I can't see my kids and they to keep me from my kids. I want to raise them. I want to raise my kids to be what? Because you're really pushing that Nazi shit. And I don't think that Kim Kardashian, which I cannot believe I'm defending this. I don't think Kim Kardashian wants their kids to be around that kind of stuff. Now, there was a back and forth that he posted on. Did he post it on Twitter? It was a back and forth that he posted on Twitter between him and Kim where they're having a conversation about how she's not feeling it. Now, I don't know if she's in on the whole situation or not, as far as like maybe this is a publicity stunt or not, which I don't think so. I don't think Kim is really rocking with the whole Nazi thing. But there was a nice little back and forth that he posted talking about how he can't get his kids. Honestly, bruh, I don't blame her. I don't think she wants her kids to be around that kind of shit. I don't think anybody wants their kids to be around that kind of shit. Do you want your kids to be around Nazi shit and racist type situations? Do you think that's really helping them move in the right way? I'm not a father, so I don't know. But I would think that you, as the smart parent out of the two, you would try to protect your kids from being around those types of things. I just really feel like this whole attention grabbing thing that Kanye is doing right now is dangerous. It's dangerous. It's stupid. and you're burning your legacy down to the ground as we speak. I can no longer, again, I said this before, but I'm going to continue to say it. I can't support this guy anymore because the type of shit that you're doing goes against things that I believe, and Nazis don't like black people. Look it up. It's a fact. Nazis don't like black folks. So this whole claiming it back and repurposing it for your own good is kind of sick and it's terrible. And I really hope that you find help, my man. But I have to kind of side with Kim Kardashian, which again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're not fit to have your kids around you. And this is not me as a judge or a jury or anything like that. This is just me as a Joe Schmo who looks at the timeline and sees the crazy shit that you continue to tweet on a regular basis. The type of stuff that you believe to be outlandish and I'm bucking the system is the same shit that hurts you as a black person. Just throwing it out there. Hopefully this man can get some help, but I really hope that we get to a point where we can erase this guy from being able to speak openly anymore, because I'm tired of it and I hope you would be tired of it too. So I'm going to put a pin in it. Yes, I know I was going to ignore it, but you can't ignore it when you go to all these different news platforms. What do you think? Am I overreacting? Do you think KanyeWest has a right to be like this? Or do you think this nigga just needs to calm the fuck down? Please let me know in the comments. So I'm going to start doing something a little bit different. I want to have more interaction. And probably the best way to have more interaction with you guys is to creep in the comments. That's right. I'm going to creep into the comments to see what you guys have been saying and answer some of the stuff, kind of answer back here. I usually do a great back and forth in the comments with you guys, but I want to start answering back here. It just makes a lot more sense. So let's start with this first comment that I got from the last video. Now, the last video what I did had a lot to do with Doechii and how much hate she's been getting here recently. And I got a couple of comments about that. Starting with Robert Miller 300.
Industry plant is used by hip-hop fans the same way bitter people use the word narcissist.
You, sir, have a point. Can we figure out another word outside of industry plant to start saying bad things about artists that you don't like? Because you guys don't want to fess up to saying, I don't like that person, or they just are ugly, or whatever the case may be. That hate that's been coming around Doechii and then calling her an industry plant is probably some of the worst takes I've ever heard in my fucking life. You people just don't like her, and it's okay. Here's the wonderful thing about being a music fan. You ain't got to listen to her. If she's on your timeline, you can mute her. I'm just saying, when everybody sees specific things, especially like here recently, the whole Will Smith thing or her getting Woman of the Year for Billboard, the first thing people want to go to is industry plant, which I have to challenge because, again, she came up in a system that believes in artist development. If you guys don't know what artist development is, look at some of the best artists that you've heard. Think about the artists who actually give you celebrity, that gives you content in their music and actually has integrity when they make their music. And ain't a lot of them, but you can tell who has all of those things. She is just a product of being developed the correct way in a system that puts out quality shit. I referenced this in the last video. TDE makes sure that they put out quality music. And if you're gonna call Doechii a plant, you gotta call SZA a plant. You gotta call Kendrick Lamar a plant. You gotta call Schoolboy Q a plant, because they all came from the same system. They all were treated the same way. They all had to be to a certain point before TDE decided to put out their music. And this industry plant stuff, bro, like, it's ridiculous. I think a lot of this shit, this industry plant talk comes from jealousy, hatred, and, to be completely honest with you, not understanding what type of music you like. Just saying. And some of y'all just want to have people on your side, bruh. Let it go. The industry plant thing, it's redundant and it's stupid and it just makes no sense. If she was an industry plant, I'm pretty sure she would have blew up a long time ago. And on top of that, she would be bigger. She would have been way bigger than what she is now. She's just not getting started. She put out an album that made sense to a lot of people and it just resonated with a lot of people. Don't y'all think that can organically happen? Just saying. It's there. It's how it works. not everybody is giving a hand up in this whole situation. And then, you know what's funny? The people who really are industry plants go right past y'all, right up under your nose, and you guys don't even realize it. And it's funny because you guys don't know how it really works. But Robert Miller 300, thank you for the comment. We had another comment from, what is her name? Lola Amazonia 5218. How you doing? You got some replies on here. So this is what she had to say.
Doechii is a major industry plant. She knew she would never make it in the industry as a straight dark-skinned woman because the industry does not and has never found dark-skinned women like Doechii attractive or desirable. They see Ice Spice as more feminine than her. So her next move is to say she's bi, and she suddenly wins a Grammy.
The whole dark skin, light skin thing, man, it's there in music. I can't sit up here and deny it. There are a lot of people in the industry who really do look at the whole dynamic between a light skinned woman and a dark skinned woman, and they do pick the light skinned woman. In some cases, they're not all the way black. Like, you use Ice Spice as an example. She ain't all the way black. She got some Puerto Rican or something in her. She ain't all the way black. And then, you know what's funny? I have to give you a point on that too. You know what's funny? We still claim Cardi is black, and Cardi ain't black. Cardi B's not a black woman, but we love putting her in that space. So I do see your point on that, where you just said, hey, they don't accept dark skinned women. That is a big problem in the industry. I don't think that she used bi to be able to get a Grammy. That's just not how that happened. I think a lot of times it's playing the game. You got to play the game. She showed up in different places. She showed up where she was supposed to be. A lot of people don't talk about that when it comes to winning Grammys or being on that Grammy push. When she dropped that album, next thing you know, she was everywhere. She did all of the things to be noticed. She took all the interviews. She actually did a lot of different different like industry places, went to industry parties or whatever the case may be. She showed up, she showed her face, and they made sure she was everywhere. And that's just a part of playing the game. And I think it's a little bit more to it than that. But I'm not going to sit up here and say that girl used the word bi to be able to get a Grammy. It just don't work out that way. It just don't happen like that. Like, what did Cardi do to win her Grammy? I use Cardi B as an example because she was the last woman who won Rap Album of the Year. And I don't remember these same type of things being said about her. And I know I shouldn't be saying those types of things because that's putting women against each other, but I only can compare from what history tells me. History tells me the last person who did this, which was like 8 years ago, was Cardi B. And we never got any of those types of things. We never got any of the kind of say so that people are saying now. So I just don't understand why she's getting the unwarranted hate. And I don't understand why people keep going at this girl who's just being herself and doing what she does best, which is entertain. There was a follow-up behind it as well because she had another person kind of go at her. But she went on to say,
I'm just telling it how it is. She does great music. There is no denying how talented she is. But come on. She says she's on same label. Kendrick is now leaving TDE. All this stuff was premeditated. That is why they rushing her fame now. So they can say, we gave one dark-skinned woman an opportunity. The music industry does not have these artists' best interests at heart. That is why you got Justin Bieber out here looking like an addict.
So the industry really don't have their best interests at heart, but TDE does. Again, TDE gave us acts like SZA, Schoolboy Q, Ab-Soul, Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick left because he outgrew the label. If you listen to Heart Part 6, it'll explain everything perfectly. He's outgrown being there. He's becoming his own executive. PG Lane is his shit. Him and Dave Free made their own shit. So why not grow? You can't stay up under an umbrella forever. You have to... Umbrella was the wrong thing. You can't be up under a label forever. You have to grow and evolve. Eventually, you have to be your own executive. You have to help other people. You have to bring other people up. I don't think they're trying to replace Kendrick with some new star because they have SZA. SZA's just as big as Kendrick Lamar. Check the numbers. Check the numbers, check the albums, check everything. SZA is just as big as Kendrick. And I don't think Doechie's there to take his place. I think Doechii is just a part of a successful label like TDE. Now, I just don't really think, hold on, let me make sure I got this correct. No, it's, yeah. Yeah, using the whole buy thing, come on, man. It's not an agenda out here. I don't think that it is, in my personal opinion. I don't think that it is. I don't think there's an agenda for her to be like, hey, everybody, I'm bi, just to be able to put her in a specific spot. I think she just really made music from where she was at that time and what was going on in her life. I don't think she just came out of nowhere and was like, hey, everybody, I'm bi. That ain't how it works. Again, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the sentiment that you're putting out here. But I think when you come from a successful label like TDE, which they're moving into movies now, which I think is very interesting as well. But when you come from a successful place like TDE, the best label of this other 2000s, if I'm being honest, well, the 2010s, my bad. Well, no, wait, this is not the 2010s. The 20, yeah, I'll just say 2010s. Fuck it. This is the best label that you can do, you can have, or you can be on when you think about this time in the last 10 to 15 years. TDE has put out nothing but quality music and quality artists. So again, I don't think it's more of what she had to do to be successful. I think that had a lot to do with the system that she came out of. I just think that they know how to cultivate the best out of their artists and how to make them into stars. It's just, you can look at the track record and tell. That's all I'm saying. But a very interesting take. Those are good. Those are pretty interesting takes, man. Y'all really hate this girl, and it's hilarious. But those are some of the comments that I got. Those are the only 2 comments I got in for this week's episode. If you are someone who wants to be a part of the show, make sure you put a comment down below on the videos. I might go back and look at some past comments and answer them as well, because y'all are very passionate about a lot of the shit that you want to talk about. But I don't have any more time left. I'm done. I have other things I got to take care of. And next episode, I'm gonna make sure I give you guys a critique on the Playboi Carti album, and I'm gonna talk about Freddie Gibbs and this run that he's on and this beef that he's been trying to conjure up. He's been shooting at a lot of people in these last 2 songs. And I want to make sure I give you guys a reaction about that. So I'll have that for the next episode. Thank you guys for supporting this episode. And if you have anything you want to say it in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you guys are supporting me. I love you guys. Take care of yourself. And I'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Thank you for joining the STEM Society.